How to break the ice, especially in times like these. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and our idiom today is how to break the ice. Or not how to break the ice, it's break the ice. Break the ice is a very old expression, a very old saying. It comes back as far back as the late 1500s, the early 1600s. Writers like Shakespeare were using the expression break the ice to describe handling difficult and challenging and awkward situations, especially, for example, when you're getting to know somebody new. Break the ice comes from navigation of frozen waterways. A ship used to have to go ahead of other ships and other sailing vessels to chop up and break the ice. It was equipped with special, I don't know, hulls or something that chopped through and broke up the ice so that other sea-bearing vessels could make headway down those same waterways when they froze up. Nowadays, there still are ice-breaking vessels. I've actually seen one, but not for a really long time. But they go ahead and they chop up the ice and they keep a channel open so that goods and services and people can still flow through the frozen waterways no matter what the temperature. Now, since I live in the Northland, we like to ice fish and go out and drive on the waterways when they're frozen, but sometimes there are waterways that don't freeze, and some areas we need to continue to have passage on. So they chop up the ice. And sometime after the 1500s, well, actually back in the 1500s and 1600s, Shakespeare and writers were using the expression, but they weren't using it to mean chopping up the ice. They were using it to mean handling or dealing with a difficult situation, and how you would do that, how you would create a friendly gesture or what you would actually do or say in order to get somebody to feel more familiar with you, to break the ice, to begin a relationship, to begin a conversation. Is we often have to have ways to break the ice. I used to, when I was in corporate America, I'd always, whenever I started a team meeting for my personal teams that I was managing, we would do some kind of an ice-breaking exercise. So I'd have a question or an exercise or something that we would do to get to know one another better, because people that know one another and understand each other, even if we don't agree on things, we still make better teammates and we still work better and play nice together. And that was very, very important. Still very, very important, but it was very important in my jobs and in corporate America and in my own businesses. Did the same thing in my own businesses where when I was meeting somebody for the first time, or when we were deciding if we were going to form a partnership or if I was going to hire somebody, one of the first things I would always do is some kind of an icebreaker exercise. There's a gazillion of them. You can just Google ice breaking or how do I break the ice or ice breaking exercise, and you'll get a whole slew of ideas on how you can do that if you don't know on your own. But I'm going to give you 3 tips and 3 ideas of what you want to do, especially now in this crisis and during trying times, to break the ice. Because not only do we need to continue to serve our past and existing customers in creative and new ways than we ever had even imagined a couple of months ago, but we need to continue to add more people to our organization. We need to search out and find people whose problems we can solve and people we can help, especially during this crisis, if we're going to get the economy going again, and if we're going to get back on our own personal economy and our own personal feet again. So how do we do that? A couple of tips there. Number 1, meet people where they are, right? Don't expect people to be the way they were even a month ago, and don't expect your customers to be having the same problems and the same feelings and the same experiences that they were a couple of months ago. Just like the whole world has changed, every single individual is figuring out and navigating the waters and how we're going to behave going forward. We have to do the same thing for our businesses. We have to be putting processes and systems in place and new procedures and how to handle things and how to make sure that we're providing a safe and positive environment going forward for our people. We need to be doing that whether our business is open and running like gangbusters because we have a necessary product or service right now, whether we are in limbo or we're just serving people in a totally different way than we did before. I think of all the restaurants doing curbside pickup and delivery that have never done it before. Or if your business is totally shut down right now and you are dead stopped in the water, you still need to be planning and preparing and getting ready and figuring out what you're going to do differently than you were doing before, because we're not going to, any one of us, go back to business as usual. Our world, maybe if it had been 2 weeks and then we opened everything up again, some things would have gone back to normal. But we're looking at 2 months, and just a few things are starting to open up and trickle effect and trickling open. And so that means everything is forever changed. And as soon as we wrap our heads around that, we'll be better able to figure out, well, what does that mean for me? What exactly are we going to do? And let's be proactive in it for our business to make sure that we've changed in positive ways right along with it. So the first thing we're going to do is meet people where they are, not assume that they're where they were a couple months ago. How do you do that? By asking questions. We meet people where they are by asking questions. The other cool thing about asking questions is people will tell us everything we need to know if we just listen and if we ask and if we observe. And the cool thing about that is then we can find out the second thing that we need to focus on and do during this time to break the ice. How can you help people? How can you serve people? What can you do for them right now? What do they want right now? What do they care about right now? By asking questions, you can get a doorway into that, and you can figure out and see, oh, well, this is what I could do to help you with that situation. Or I might not know how to solve that problem, but my friend Joe has the answer to that. Hey, let me hook you up with Joe, or let me get you Joe's number, or let me get you Joe's contact information, whatever. And the third thing that I find is really important when you want to break the ice with somebody is be interested in them, truly care about them and want to get to know them. Be curious. There's an old saying, be more interested than you are interesting, because the other saying that goes along with that is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that is always true. It's universally true, but we don't really realize it, but we especially realize it in times of crisis, in times of great change and stress for people. And people, believe it or not, are under more stress than ever before. The people that are working and serving all of us that are at home are more stressed than they ever had before, because they're out on the front lines and they're concerned and worried about all the people they come in contact with. The people that aren't working are stressed because of their finances, their life change, the people home with kids. Every one of us are actually more stressed than we were before, except in some areas. We don't have the commute. So if we're focusing on the things we can do and the things that are better about the situation, we're always gonna win. We're always gonna feel better. So break the ice. How do we do it? Be interested and curious about other people. Ask them questions. Meet them where they are. Prove and show to them how much you care and are curious about them by being interested in them more than you're interested in yourself. It's like listening skills versus speaking skills. The listener is always a much better leader than the great orator, right? At least in my humble opinion. So break the ice. Love to know your experience with the expression. I got lots of experience with this expression, both from a leading teams, but I think every single one of us has walked into that room or that awkward party or that awkward neighborhood gathering or that awkward church group or that awkward, PTA meeting or something where we didn't actually know anybody and it just didn't feel like a friendly room, and we had to figure out how were we going to navigate that and break the ice. And that's a skill that you'll use for your entire life. So get to know people. The cool thing is we have something in common and can learn something from absolutely everyone on the planet. And when you approach it from that perspective and say, hey, what can I learn from this person? You treat them differently, you show up differently, and they can sense that and feel that. And that is one of the best ways to break the ice. So share in the comments below how you have experienced the break the ice expression. I love if you have a great story about how, or a great activity that you've used to break the ice with other people. Maybe you have like the perfect question that you ask people to break the ice. I don't know if there's a perfect question, but there probably is. Share that in the comments below because I would love to know. Boys, I will see you tomorrow with another interesting idiom. What does it mean? Where does it come from? And how might you be able to apply it to your business and your life right now? Take care, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.